Maximo Ibarra, CEO KPN.
365 days.
Yes.
What have you done so far?
I think many things, really many things. We work with the entire team in order to develop a new strategy, which is more like really enhancing the strategy of the company. Mm-hmm. We set up the new ambitions. There were some
Tell me
changes.
about the strategy then. What is the new strategy?
The strategy is very clear. It's really building the infrastructure, the digital highway of the country, of the Netherlands. And after that, creating a super huge community of integrated customers in both consumer and business that will rely on KPN for a very long time because they will benefit from fixed mobile content, security, IT services.
Yeah. What is different than the Italian telecom field? What is different about KPN than your Italian previous employer?
I think there's very few differences. In the end, it's not very different. We have to do exactly the same stuff to be really fast because the industry is complicated. It's very competitive, as you know. There are many challenges. So I don't find too many differences. It's quite the same.
Italian, Colombian, you basically have not much problems adapting to Dutch culture.
I think so, yeah. And I like the Dutch culture a lot because it's, as I said also in different occasions, very modern. And people really like to look forward, which I love because it means that you are not looking behind, you're looking just ahead. And looking ahead is always the most important thing if you really want to be successful.
Since you are also a professor in political science, you have been in that industry, let's talk politics for a second. We need 5Gs. Yeah. We need 5G. We need the auction. It needs to come. The army needs to get rid of some frequencies. How difficult is that decision-making process, and how difficult is policy making here in the Netherlands for KPN?
Yeah, I think that there were some delays on the auction also because we had to wait until the merger between Tele2 and T-Mobile. Of course, there are some difficulties with the availability of spectrum in certain parts of the country, but now we are accelerating. I think that the government now is really taking care of that in order to make sure that the auctions are going to happen very soon. In the meantime, we are not just simply waiting. We are just...
you have here the incredible 5G field labs, which I covered a couple of examples, which were really practical, also in agriculture and in processes with Shell, with agriculture. That's really nice.
Exactly, in different sectors, in different segments. And we are also modernizing our infrastructure. So the moment the spectrum will be available, we just simply switch it on everywhere in the country.
Maximo, when 4G auction was there, KPN was so ready that 6 weeks after the auction, 4G was live. What is your plan? Impossible plan for it now. When the auction is ready next year, March, how fast will you turn it on?
To be the same, to be the fastest and the number one. KPN has its duty in the country to be the number one in delivering the future-proof technology.
So you want to be the first. Okay. The guy who did that was Jacob Groten. And he was the master. He's everywhere in Europe. He's seen as the master of network planning. He's really very brilliant. And he also can talk. And now he's in charge of sales, of business sales. Why did you get a brilliant engineer out of the network operation and made him sales?
He's cooperating on the network as well because
of course he says what he needs to be. But you made a brilliant technical guy go to sales. Why did you do that?
Because it's something that he wanted at the same time, and he's doing a brilliant job in integrating some companies that we have recently acquired. But then our plan is that we will utilize him more and more in developing our, future-proof technology. No doubt about that.
And Marieke is also an engineer, so we have a political scientist at the head, and you have in the plan a lot of technology.
Diverse background in the company to make sure that we can see the reality from different angles.
You say it's easy, 365 days, it wasn't too difficult. Come on, there must be something difficult about being one of the CEOs of the biggest country in the Netherlands and coming from Italy. What was really hard?
It's hard. I've never said that it's not hard. It's very intense. I have very druk days. Of course, I know the industry very well, and I know exactly what we have to do. I think the most difficult thing in a big company, and of course KPN is not the exception, is that we can't really do more in a shortest time. So we have to accelerate and to focus more because we did sometimes too many things, brilliant things, but now we need to concentrate on the top 3, top 4 and deliver the best we can. Not only for the Netherlands, but also compared to the rest of Europe and the world. So this is, something where we are just really working really hard.
Two last questions. First, your family, how are they doing in Amsterdam?
They're doing well. They are. I mean, it took not so much for them to adapt. Of course, there are things that are slightly different from Italy. January and February in terms of the weather was not the best one. We know that.
But they are adapting.
Now it's really getting better.
Last difficult question. KPN is one of the last incredibly strong, very powerful, big market share countries, telecom countries in the Netherlands, in Europe, and still independent. What is your plan with KPN? Do you want to keep it independent, or do you want to connect it to a stronger network?
We have to make our job here in the Netherlands first, and then we will see. But we need to execute our current strategy. It will take some time.
One more last question. Access for All. What is your plans with that? Because you had a lot of people who said they were very excited about Access for All.
Now we are talking to each other. What we have to do that now is to explain exactly what we have in mind, which is really improving the quality and the experience Access for All customers are just having in this moment. And at the same time, make sure that the signature services of Access for All can be also utilized for the big audience of the other KPN customers. So
is it surprising that customers say, hey, we love it so much, this brand, keep it alive?
No, it didn't surprise me. And by the way, I was positively surprised because it means that there is a lot of passion there. So we need just to keep that passion in the company and maybe expand it.
Thank you very much. Up to the next year.